Knowing that an individual death is meaningless, any individual death, especially your own, that you are not a person but a statistic, and noticing more each day the countless deaths that occur around you, of other people, of animals, of insects, of the sick and infirm, of accident victims, of plants ripped from the earth, and worms crushed beneath the blades of plows, of authors in their rooms scribbling out desperate words in the backs of books no one will ever read, even the shattering of molecular bonds, the disintegration of atomic structures happening in every moment, millions in each nanosecond, everywhere. This is death consciousness, and it begs the question, what's the point? This was a passage from the booklet shipped with the Death Consciousness vinyl, the debut album of the duo Have a Nice Life, recorded independently with a budget of only $1,000. The whole project can be boiled down to one idea. There is no full story, as the 70-page booklet might make it seem, but rather an idea, a philosophical concept, transcendental nihilism, facing death and being conscious of its inevitability, being conscious that you will become nothing more than a statistic. A quick one before the Eternal Worm devours Connecticut is an 8-minute long ambient track introducing the album to the listener. The title's "a quick one" refers to sex or alcohol, a temporary pleasure, whereas the Eternal Worm references Isaiah 66:24 from the Old Testament. They will go out and look on the dead bodies of those who rebelled against me. The worms that eat them will not die, the fire that burns them will not be quenched, and they will be loathsome to all mankind. The text is a depiction of hell, with worms that do not die, causing eternal suffering. These particular pieces connect to form a narrative. The song Blood Hail tells about the end of the world. God is wreaking destruction on existence, and the last survivors build a staircase made of human bodies to him. They then proceed to shoot God with handmade arrows, killing him. God's blood, frozen in the cold of space, rained down on Earth like hail, hence the name Blood Hail. The fourth song, Hunter, continues the story of Blood Hail from God's point of view. At the start of the song, God has fallen from the sky and is laying on the forest floor, full of arrows. The rest of the surviving humans wait patiently for him to die, so they can exploit his body for material gain, like food and armor. The two pieces can also be a metaphor for dictatorial rule, and the revolution that brings the dictatorship down. The Big Gloom depicts a heavily depressed character in a bath contemplating suicide. Their main concern, however, is how others will perceive their death and how it will affect them. The song was heavily influenced by the band's co-founder, Dan Barrett's personal struggle with depression. In the song Telephony, the narrator builds a time-traveling telephone to contact a deceased loved one. It is believed that the song is about Dan's father, who he was grieving at the time of recording the album. The song, "Who Would Leave Their Son Out in the Sun," is a biblical reference to the denial of Peter. There is also a connection between the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and the narrator's suffering. The narrator hopes that the pain he endures is not pointless. There Is No Food is another instrumental piece lacking meaning compared to the other works. According to Dan Barrett's blog, the song is about starving to death on some kind of atom-blasted moonscape. The song's name, Holy Fucking Shit 40,000, originally refers to the game Warhammer 40k, but can also be tied to the annual suicides in the US. The song has two meanings, just like the title. It's about the movie Terminator, and how the robot assassin is sent back in time to kill Sarah Connor, the mother of the future leader of the human resistance in the human-cyborg war. The other meaning is suicide and determinism. How the narrator feels that everything is already set in place by a higher power, and that they have no free will. The narrator concludes that the only way to gain free will back is to kill it themselves. The Future is another instrumental track. The robotic and repetitive drums could be a reference to the last track's first meaning, and how in the future there will only be robots. The track Deep Deep concludes that the biological need to procreate is a fundamentally destructive thing. As long as people will have babies, the cycle of death and devastation will continue. A less cryptic track than the rest of the album, I Don't Love tells about the desire to die due to depression. The narrator is tired and can't keep up anymore. The lack of love for life for the narrator is where the song's title comes from. Earth Mover is a song about Earth-destroying golems exterminating everything in sight. After everything is destroyed, the golems have nothing to do. They are machines that destroy, but can't be destroyed. The golems yearn for death, but cannot die. They can't speak, but if they could, the only thing that they would say is,